Are you winning at the game of retirement? I hope so. If not, we probably need to take some of the advice here from Jerry Slusowicz from Pacific Financial Planners. Jerry, thanks for coming to the show again.
Michael, thank you for having me.
Now let's talk about this. So what are some of the keys? What are some of the important things at winning the game of life financially? You manage money. You know what works and what doesn't in the long run, right? So talk to us a little bit about what people should be thinking about in terms of how we can create some wealth.
Right, Michael. Thinking about it is the key, is having the right mindset. And so winning the game of life, is different for different people, right? It just kind of depends on what station they're kind of at. For
right.
Our viewers here in the village, might be living here and, traveling to Hawaii or New York once a year. And for someone else living here, but traveling to Hawaii and New York once a year, but riding first class. Someone else might say, hey, look, I want to take my private jet whenever I want to go, wherever
right.
I want to go. But when you reach this age, the 55 plus crowd, you generally have reached a station in your life that you kind of switch this mindset to maintain. Like, how do I afford this for the rest of my life? I find very few people are at a station at 60, 70 years old saying, hey, I want to go to the private jets.
The next level.
Exactly. So it's maintaining where you are today is kind of winning the game of life for our audience.
Right. And that old Milton Bradley game where you spun and you did the game of life and everything like that, there were different paths for everybody. Like you said, hey, some people aren't going to college, some people are going this street, some people want to just have the simple life, some people want the jets, right? So what are some of the key building blocks for folks who want to have the successful retirement? Right.
Well, again, the building blocks for success, it's the ones that game, you either ended up in Millionaire Acres, is what it was called.
I think it was called that, right.
Or the poorhouse. so it really starts with having a plan. That's the basic concept. A lot of people do not spend the time having a plan. They'll plan that vacation to Hawaii. They'll spend more time planning that than they will planning the retirement. And people go, well, I'm already retired. Yes, you are. But are you properly allocated for
right.
your risk tolerance, for your income needs? Do you know your expenses? How about from taxes? Are you investing in the most tax efficient way? And then estate planning, we all got to go someday.
Right.
Is your estate set up in the manner that you want it to transfer to wherever that is that you want that
right.
money to go?
And that's a hard conversation sometimes to have with parents and older folks about, hey, what's going to happen? And we don't want things to fall into probate. That's the worst possible scenario for someone who's built a life and a home and all of these things, and then their kids are in the courts trying to figure it all out, right?
Yeah, it's horrible when it gets to that. I mean,
right.
I see this multiple times a year, Michael, and it's very unfortunate. It's titling. It goes down to titling. And it is the financial advisor who should be telling these folks, our listeners, make sure you title it right. I've seen people say, well, Joni, my oldest daughter, is the most responsible. I'm going to leave my $1 million 401k to her, and she'll split it amongst her 4 other siblings. Each should get $200 each.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, Joni's keeping that money.
Yeah, Joni's not splitting up anything.
I served on the Orange County FAST team, the financial abuse specialist team, back in the 90s when they first founded it. And obviously there's the rogue financial advisor, CPA attorney who steals and preys on seniors, and scams are up, and it's horrible. But the reality is families account for about 75% of senior financial abuse by not helping structure things properly.
Now, I feel like we're getting a little bit of a sneak peek right now, but you have an upcoming workshop about building blocks for retirement. What are some of the things you'll be kind of going over, the ABCs of what people should be doing?
Well, again, it comes down to having a plan and structuring that plan. It's really important to understand that. And so we have handouts that are very valuable. All you got to do is show up. Nobody has to sign in or give your name or participate. But that will help you come up with your real expenses, and then will help you calculate what your real income is and see if there's a shortfall or a gain. Obviously, if there's a shortfall, it's got to come through your investments and your savings. So how do you make those savings last? And so
right.
we'll talk about strategies in depth for any level of wealth to really help everybody understand it. I did radio for 20 years. People say I understand, I explain things in an easy to understand format.
Good. Now, some folks might be saying, oh, well, it's too late for me to invest, but we're also talking about with the money you have right now, how you can best use it, how you set up your accounts, like you say, are you in tax-free accounts, are you in paying taxes, whatever it might be, right? So setting up the money you have to make it last as long as possible, just coming up with a plan if somebody's not doing it quite right now, right?
Yeah, it's so important. And again, I offer these free reviews where people want to sit down with me. It really comes down to having a structured, personalized financial game of life winning strategy for you based on where you are, what your spending habits are, and how you're allocated. Because a lot of people, I'm going to tell you, Michael, are still taking way too much risk here in the village. I look at portfolios all the time.
Really?
Yeah, sure. There's some people that have all their money in the bank and it's all under a mattress and stuff like that, and maybe they're too conservative. But far too often, I see people with too much risk than the other way around.
Now
and
they're
so
playing around with Bitcoin and
that's a craze right now. It's a craze, and that's really what it is. It's never going to replace our currency. So, but you can make money and you can lose a lot of money as well.
So people sometimes find the idea of retirement a little bit daunting, right? And it can be. What's your approach to help easing people into that, helping them through that kind of scary idea of retirement? What am I going to do? How's it going to work?
Well, having done this for 37 years, I'm not just, here's your best investment, here, buy this mutual fund, this stock, etc. We take a more holistic approach to it,
right?
Because it is a daunting situation, Michael, as you mentioned. So what we want to do is break it down into small, easy steps, just a little bit here, a little bit there, and we can help you along the way to try to maximize your Social Security if you haven't taken it yet. If you're already on it, great. But how should you invest to save money on taxes? There's things you could do, just slight shifts. So we're not like, hey, you got to make changes. It's complimentary. There's no obligation. You don't have to do anything. But I got to tell you, in this environment, this kind of market, it's been pretty good the last year and a half after this 2022 debacle. But there's so much risk out there. Get a review, take advantage of it. Complimentary, no obligation. Come to the Financial Forum. We'll discuss things, and you will benefit, I assure you, with our handouts and some of the knowledge we impart.
Right. So you don't have a crystal ball you bring out and say, okay, here's what the future is going to be, so I can tell you this. But you do have some just tried and true methods. Like, listen, no matter what the economy is, no matter what, here's your plan, and here's how we can make something safe that works best for you. Right? Is it more about individuals' needs, tailoring it there instead of trying to predict the markets?
Yeah, no. You can't predict the markets. Nobody can. We have no idea. Nobody does. I mean, again, I did radio for 20 years. I could give you a whole pontification of which direction the market's going to move. But in the end, no, we're talking about financial planning, specific financial planners who do financial planning. And one of the things you just mentioned was unexpected events. Look, you've got to plan for unexpected events. We all want longevity. So the longer you live, guess what? The more unexpected events there's going to be. The more bad markets there's going to be. So having an emergency fund, having money designed for long-term care. See, to me, long-term care can't be an unexpected event anymore. If you live here in the village, we all know people who have had to, eventually need help. Not everybody, but about half. So how are you going to pay for that? Right. So we can plan for that today before those events happen. So when they do happen, we know which assets we're going to use to pay for them and how we're going to handle all that sort of stuff. Even should you keep your house or sell your house. I talk to children all the time whose parents entered into this situation. It's a pretty high level discussion versus buy this stock or buy this mutual fund.
Right, absolutely. All right, we've got some good financial sound advice from Pacific Financial Planners' very own Jerry Slusowicz. Thank you for joining us, as always.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, when we come back, we'll get an update from the South Orange County Community College District. Stay with us.